And welcome to another edition of Spits and Suds. Thank you guys so much for joining us. Big win by the Stars last night against the Winnipeg Jets. 2 points in Winnipeg. We're about to speak to Sean Shapiro, our NHL/Stars insider. But of course, you know this program is proudly presented by the On Time Experts, the official HVAC company of your Dallas Stars, and obviously the official HVAC and plumbing company of Gavin Spittle and Spits and Suds. Yes, I say Gavin Spittle because I've used them multiple times. They've done great work with my plumbing. In fact, they've come out to the house and said, you know what, Gavin, actually, you're okay right now. So they walked in and out. It didn't cost me anything. That's a beautiful thing. And they have that special right now on the ontimeexperts.com. The weather is going to be beautiful this weekend. So there's a good chance both your heat and your air is not going to go on. It's a nice temperature right now. But what about in a month or two when it starts to cool down? Is your heat ready? Nothing wrong with getting your system a nice tune-up, a nice cleaning. $59. It's right there for first-time customers. TheOnTimeExperts.com. Same-day guaranteed service. In other words, you can click the Book Now button right now. They're there within 4 hours. And I'm so glad so many of you are taking us up on this offer. Talk to the On-Time Experts. They said their trucks are busy this October. It's been a huge month for them, and they are supporting local hockey in DFW. I'm so glad you're supporting them. So give them a call or just simply hit that Book Now button, or you can even email them and tell them, thanks for supporting local hockey in DFW, the On-Time Experts. Okay, he is all over the place. In fact, he had 2 TVs going last night. He had the Stars going. He had the Wings going. He is, of course, the Substack, Shap Shots, putting out amazing information. And then he also helps EPRinkside.com, which is one of the encyclopedias of hockey. I use it all the time. He was a goalie in the Late Game movie. He writes for D Magazine. And I was so happy, I was just telling him this, that I got to see a tweet from him or read about it on his Substack. He actually went to the Detroit Tigers playoff game. The greatness of Sean Shapiro. How are you, my friend?
We're doing really well, Gavin. I'm happy to be here.
So I just thought of this thing, because you talked about the excitement of being in that playoff atmosphere. And I thought to myself, this is a good question for Sean on Friday. From a hockey perspective or sports perspective, if you want to broaden it out, is there a moment where you're at the rink or wherever you were that Sean Shapiro can call his greatest sports watching moment?
In person, let me think about this. So,
Or it could be just watching.
yeah, I mean, I do think like one of the really, I was in more recent history, the it was in Ohtani's last year with the Angels. I don't if you remember that game where there was a game where Ohtani, there was a doubleheader in Detroit. Ohtani started the first game and threw like 7 shutout innings. Then he hit like 3 home runs in the second game of the doubleheader. Like that was one of those like really cool things of like, from a baseball perspective of like getting to watch that kind of back to back from the same player in a doubleheader of like,
That's
this
great.
is the type of like that. That's up there. From a from a personal from a personal experience standpoint, the going to as a kid, my dad took me. This is a long like foundational thing from when I was 5 or 6 years old. I think I was 5 years old in '94. So my dad took me to a World Cup game in 1994
Oh,
when I was a
nice.
5 year old, and it was at the old Giant Stadium in East Rutherford, New Jersey, and that was one of those where just kind of that was one of those like just like foundational kind of like memories of watching sport and the atmosphere
Sure.
and everything like that. So those are up there. From a I've watched it. It's from a I've seen a lot of cool stuff from a hockey perspective. Hockey's always an odd one for me to talk about it, just because obviously there's the work element of it. Um, Now, I will. It was one of the kind of like I remember, and this goes back to kind of this is kind of some kind of relates to kind of growing up watching the sport too and everything like that. But um, as a kid, I remember watching. I don't remember what the final result of the game was, but I remember I was living in northern New Jersey, and there was a Devils Sabres game um, that I get to watch like Prime Hasek versus Prime Brodeur
Oh,
in the like as a kid who was still just a street hockey goalie at the time. Like I played
yeah,
street hockey before I ever played ice hockey and everything like that. So like that's up there.
that's
Um,
great.
yeah, a lot of cool stuff. I mean, for me, I guess the other one that I had not that I would put up there, and this was technically from a it was technically I was technically working it, but it was the one of the when I was in Austin, I covered the first time you go and cover a Formula One race, and like you kind of get to like witness that in person. Like that's really cool,
Yeah,
right? Like it's one of the things where you might not like Formula One or you may not know much about it, but like if you get the opportunity, and I know the tickets are so expensive now after what happened with the popularity of the sport in the United States after the Netflix show and everything like that, but it's a really cool thing to see.
yeah,
Like
absolutely.
yeah, so there's a bunch there.
That's
It's
cool.
um there's I've been pretty lucky in life with that. So
I think that's wonderful. For me, just watching, I think I was 9, the 1980 USA versus Russia game.
okay,
I will
yeah.
never forget the CCCP. I will never forget. I was at the Freiberg's house, 2 houses up, popcorn in my hand, and I remember at the end of the game just absolutely screaming.
On
And
tape delay too,
on
right?
tape, that is to me one of the great stories that we don't talk about enough. That it was tape delayed. We didn't have the technology, so I guess it was kind of embargoed, but there's no way we would have found out. So as a 9-year-old, for all I know, I thought it was live. And
Hmm.
it's just, I remember the blue ice. I remember the Al Michaels call. It's so vivid. And no, not because I saw a miracle. It's just, it I hate to be dramatic, but it changed America in so many ways as far as patriotism and stuff at the time. It was just a really, really cool win. So, yeah. So I thought that was really cool. Okay. So I was thinking last night, Sean, I don't want to say it's a coach's dream because it was very stressful for Glen Gulutzan and the staff, but you got 2 points in Winnipeg, which is great. You have some great tape in the first 2 periods to show your team that if you do this, what I've been preaching, you can dominate. And you also have the third period, mistakes, the shorthanded goals, but you also have the final 3 minutes of the game where you withstood a Winnipeg power play and you won the game. So I think there's some. Am I wrong? There's some really good tape for Glen Gulutzan and Neil Graham and Nazar Dean to sit down with the boys and say, hey, 2 points, but we need to work on this, but look what we did on a positive side.
Yeah, it's and I'm not saying easy to fix, but there's when you go and you kind of look at the reality of two of the goals are two shorthanded goals. That's something that you kind of can go and you know exactly what part of the film you're looking at there. And and then you also have not to like a couple of there's a couple things that a bit chaotic where it's like the one Miro falls
Yeah.
and that's something that never really happens, right? Like that's so the, and then on the fourth goal, the uh the one that Jake is completely square to Kyle Connor on, right? That one
Mm-hmm.
kind of you're like that one is that one sits a bit odd too for you, where it's like, I that's that's a goal that you need to save there,
Yep.
right?
Yep.
Like I think on that one, like, and so I think there's a you never like apologize about a win in the NHL.
Sure.
Um, but I think there's a bit of a good lesson, early lesson for this team and this coaching staff of this is what the battle's going to be like in the Central. You get Colorado on Saturday night. It's going to be that way as well. I think um it's okay to work these things out now. And it's like when I saw some people getting worried about it, my big thing is like it's tough to win in the NHL.
Mm-hmm.
The first couple weeks of the season are always chaotic.
Yep.
Just kind of embrace it is kind of where I go.
Yeah. I guess my question is that when you're up 5-1 and you're on the power play, is it too archaic to think that that's a good time to put two defensemen on the ice?
I'll push back on you in this way, where
Okay.
it's you're up 5-1.
Yep.
You're trying to get the power play going. Isn't it the perfect time to try to keep things clicking along? Right? Like at the same time, right?
Sure.
Like, so I'll push back on that one where I think you want to be a little smarter, I think, but it's okay you want to keep that killer instinct, and you might need that power play goal late against Colorado tomorrow night. I think it's okay to kind of continue to push there, and that to me is so I look at it that way. So
Okay. No, I love that. Maybe take more shots in tight then, so you don't have those big rebounds.
or just it's I really want
Is it just fluky?
it's fluky, and it's fluky
Vancouverist from
and a
last
bit of
year.
bad luck with how things went.
Sure.
So
Sure. Okay. Positives. I thought Nils Lundkvist was excellent last night.
yes, he was. He was very good last night, I think. Yeah, he was. I he is one where I think you and I talked about this quite a bit before, where he's someone who coming into this season, you are kind of hoping and looking forward to kind of the next step for him that we kind of thought was going to happen. And
Mm-hmm.
obviously, it's one game, and we'll see where things go. But he's got some confidence. He's willing to shoot the puck a bit more. A lot of stuff moving in the right direction for him, and it kind of can help solidify some of those questions about like if you're the Stars right now, you know who your top three defenders are. It's Miro Heiskanen, it's Thomas Harley, it's Esa Lindell, right? And you think Liam Bischel's going to be there soon, and I think he does have a big opportunity. But if Lundqvist can add the elements offensively with the puck on his stick, that's a huge. I don't think that can be undersold of
Agree.
about where things are going.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. The other two things that I noticed last night, Sean, that I wanted to ask you if you observed this as well. One of the things that Glen Gulutzan preached was physicality, not necessarily dropping the glove, but winning the board battles. I thought the Stars, specifically in the offensive zone, won a lot of puck battles that kept it in the zone. So I thought they did a good job of that. Maybe other than some spurts in the third period, I thought they did a nice job getting it out of their defensive zone as well. I'm not seeing the Stars in its preseason. I know it's just one game. It might change Saturday night because of how good Colorado looks right now. But I think the Stars are doing a real nice job not getting hemmed in their own zone for long periods of time, which we did see last year.
I agree with that. I think it's Glenn has spoken quite frequently about, hey, we are gonna we're gonna kind of build up here, and we are going to make the like how are we going to kind of the famous line is that hand-to-hand combat of the playoffs, right? And if if the Stars can kind of keep building in this way against a tough Winnipeg team, and who knows whether it's building off the playoffs or whatever, but it is um, there's a really nice element of this team kind of gets what they need to do, and that's honestly my biggest takeaway, Gavin, is we saw last night a lot of the things that um, a lot of the things that Gulutzan preached before the season, things he was going to do. Um, for example, you probably remember the piece I wrote before the season started about him talking about um, having Miro on the penalty kill.
Yes.
We saw Miro kill about 3 minutes 15 seconds of penalty kill last night. Um, the we saw kind of the physicality. It's easy for a coach to talk a big game before the season starts. It was really nice to see some evidence of actions following the words, and I think that's something that I will keep in mind about last night.
Yeah, I think it was I think Stars fans need to take a step back and say, wow, 2 points in Winnipeg. The crowd was
Mhm.
quiet throughout the night. Wanted to add, I know they didn't score, but I did really like the Faksa Bastian Hryckowian line. I felt as though they had some quality offensive zone time. I thought Bastian did a real nice job in neutral ice as well.
Yeah, it was good to see Radek Faksa. It was enjoyable to see Radek Faksa back in Dallas without the expectations of what was before. No one could ignore the first round pick status. No one could ignore the contract. He looked to play a little bit freer last night, and I think that was really nice to see. And I'll be honest, I wasn't really sure how much Bastion would add, but with what he did on the forecheck, how he kind of right in there, I was pleasantly surprised with how things kind of went for him on as someone who not not I wasn't like hating the signing, but I wasn't as super jacked up about it as some other people were, I guess.
Just wanted to add NHL.com, and he had a good game last night. Players give predictions for next breakout star in the league. Finishing first was Macklin Celebrini, but this is really cool because it's a players poll. Wyatt Johnston finishing second.
Yeah, I mean, hasn't Wyatt already kind of broke out? Like, I mean, it's like
Yeah, true.
right, like it's the like definitely enjoyable ideology there, but he also feels like he's someone who's already broke
Yeah.
out in a way too to me. So,
I don't really think of him as young, and I think that's a huge compliment to him. I feel
oh,
like he's been in the
100%.
league for
Huge,
years.
yeah, huge thing, huge benefit that they are like you look at the Stars young core and you look what they've already accomplished and you look at the runway, like that's really exciting.
Very exciting. Okay, interesting week, and want to get your perspective as far as contracts, because now I think a lot of the chips have fallen with Kyle Connor signing an 8-year deal. That's $12 million a year, an extension. Jack Eichel signs an 8-year deal, $13.5 million. Obviously, we know Mikko Rantanen back in March signed for $12 million. So I was talking the other day on Spits and Suds, Sean, and I thought to myself, based on these contracts, and I know Kaprizov needed to be in Minnesota, so that's kind of an outlier.
Mhm.
To me, Jason Robertson falls like, to me, if I'm Jim Nill, I think 12's the number like that I hold at. I mean, I want to get him underneath that, but what do you think?
Well, I mean, the last night was a Rantanen at 12,
Yeah, Connor.
Connor at 12. You got
Yep.
two guys. You're like, man, this looks like a uh, both of these look like pretty good deals, right?
Yes, very.
Right.
Yes.
You're like, okay, that's so yeah, I mean, if you're the whole Kaprizov, the McDavid deal is fascinating. All of this is kind of crazy with how it went. Like the Kaprizov deal is turning into more of an outlier than I thought it was going to be.
Me
Like
too.
I thought players were going to jump all over this and kind of go and have a little bit more like right. Like I thought there was going to be more of a. I thought there was going to be more players trying to hop on this, right? Like it's like, hey, we're gonna go get paid, and instead there's been way more of the just let's like let's kind of follow what McDavid did. So if you're the Stars, I think 12 would be really nice, but I also think and you I can live in a world with 13 and a half with Jason Robertson.
Okay.
I'm willing to accept inflation. I'm willing to accept of that. But it is I mean, there's a lot of fun potential here with this lineup, even if it comes in at that number.
Yeah, yeah, and to the point where it's like, I'm not saying they were bad, but I mean the
Oh
Duchesne
yeah.
Sagan lineup was quieter than others. Obviously, Rantanen was dominating on the ice, but then here comes Matt Duchesne with just a absolute wonderful play and just a smooth pass, and Tyler Sagan the knowledge to be where he was. It was just pretty. By the way, we forget last night the Stars went up against the Hart and Vezina Trophy winner and Connor
Yep.
Hellebuck. So I mean, we kind of like haven't mentioned that.
No, I mean neither right, neither goalie though, like it's
No.
opening night, but like the two guys for what was supposed to be the hey, here's the battle between the two guys that are gonna be the Team USA goalies, right? Like not the film that Bill Guerin's gonna be using to pick who starts, who's number one on the depth chart before game one there in Italy, right?
Yeah, yeah, no, I I absolutely agree. All right, so now after that big win, Sean, is there an expectation or do you play this game where like I was saying like, hey, 3 or 4 points from these 3 games to me, I'd feel good about 3 divisional matchups. Colorado and Winnipeg are going to be tough. I was kind of expecting 2 against Minnesota at the home opener, but you never know. But now that you got that first win, what would be a fair expectation that you'd feel good about?
Um, I don't think win-loss is something that I would worry about here one way or the other. I think it's more I'm seeing a lot of the things moving the right way, um, as far as the process, right? Like I would expect a forecheck to look pretty good against Colorado on Saturday night. I would expect Jake Ottinger to be. I'm assuming Jake Ottinger is going to play Saturday night. I'm expecting him to take a step and improve and be better. So I'm not really putting expectations on wins or losses after last night, but I see the areas that I want them to keep working on, and I also see the areas where you can keep kind of both the building blocks and the stumbling blocks that both can be lessons. And this team has a good combination of them as opposed to some other teams. Watch a bunch of other games, and there's some other teams across the league right now that have much bigger issues.
Yeah. Am I too simplistic by saying I'm enjoying this Glen Gulutzan style? I know it's early, but even watching in preseason, like I just like for instance, it's something simple, but I thought at times last year, Sean, they were a little bit pass happy.
Oh yeah.
So I feel as though like just putting pucks on net is a small thing. Carrying the puck more than like overpassing, specifically getting out of your zone and everything. I just feel as though there's a lot of little things that as a hockey fan and as a guy who does a podcast that I'm
Hmm.
excited about. I just feel as though they were, you know, exactly what Gulutzan said. I'd be crazy to change stuff, but I'm going to make some tweaks, and I really like the tweaks. It's early, but I feel as though like it's almost freeing the players in a bit.
Yeah, I agree with that. That's a good way to look at it. It's a there's there are it's the more we look at it, and it's easy to kind of go and rip on Pete DeBoer when he's gone,
Hmm.
but it's like you kind of see how much this team, this group, they were getting worn down, and I think they are enjoying the new kind of feeling from Glenn and this staff of kind of the freedom that is coming with the how he wants to play and everything like that. Like it is I don't I think that emotional part of it can't be understated. So
I absolutely agree with you. You're an absolute beast. What kind of hockey do you have this weekend?
let's see, this weekend I'm gonna go watch some OHL. I'm gonna watch two OHL
Oh,
games the next
nice.
so night off tonight. Gonna enjoy the night off with the family tonight. I'm gonna go check out. I'm actually gonna watch the Oshawa Generals twice in the next 72 hours. Oshawa plays at Flint tomorrow night. Headed over to that one, and then with the Canadian Thanksgiving on Monday with some daytime games. there's a 2 o'clock start between Windsor and Oshawa that I'm going to go watch on Monday there.
That's cool. So when you go, are you just there observing, or are you talking to people? Just take us kind of behind the curtain.
I got my scouting notebook with me.
Okay.
I'm filing scouting reports for the folks over at Elite Prospects, keeping an eye on things. Just kind of all of this is such a information business.
Sure.
And just kind of keep it and kind of, I think every single time you go to the rink, you learn something. And if you're learning something every time you go to the rink, I think I'm doing my job.
Absolutely. Okay. So follow Sean at Shapshots. That's his Substack. A lot of great articles, pictures, kind of breaking down plays. So make sure you subscribe to that. Elite Prospects. You can follow his work there along with some of the amazing work. I mean, they're already talking about the 2026 draft there. Really interesting stuff. Tons of player information. He writes for D Magazine. You can follow him at Sean Shapiro. Is it at Sean C. Shapiro or just at Sean Shapiro? At Sean Shapiro. Okay.
Yeah.
At Sean Shapiro. And also, I talk about this, but two of the guys that make it happen on Spits and Suds is obviously Sean is one, but Steven Meserve of 100 Degree Hockey. So you want to follow 100 Degree Hockey to get the latest on the Texas Stars as far as they're going through their training camp at Cedar Park. But the two, Sean and Steven, collabed on a book, We Win Here. And if you don't know, Sean already published a book that you can get. It's 100 Things Stars Fans Should Know. So just look that up. So that's a 100 Things Stars Fans Should Know and do before they die. Okay. So if you're a new Stars fan listening, then get that book and then get the sequel to that, kind of, We Win Here. Right, Sean?
Yes. You could probably if you order from Amazon or whatever, you could probably get them in the same cart together.
Absolutely. Love spending 30 minutes with you each week. Thank you so much, Sean. Have a great weekend. Enjoy the Ontario Hockey League. That sounds great.
I will, Gavin. I appreciate it, man.
Absolutely. That's going to do it for another edition of Spits and Suds as we roll along. Of course, we'll be back for a post-game show tomorrow night after Colorado. Thanks to the On Time Experts for their sponsorship of this program. Until our next podcast, have a great day, everyone.